Heyo, what's up, everybody? It is your final girl, Mel, and this is My Killer Podcast. What's up, everybody? Today we are going to be talking about my September Letterboxd reviews and watches. Yes! The last time I did one of these videos, you guys really enjoyed it, so I thought I would do another one. So if you continue to enjoy it, please hit me in the comments and let me know. And if not, tell me to stop it. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. I don't know. The more content, the better, I say, right? Anyway, let's jump right on into what I watched for September. So, let's jump into my Letterboxd and see where we are at. Oh my goodness, where am I going? So, I am going to start with some of my August watches because I watched these films at the end of August after I recorded my previous Letterboxd review video. So I want to start where I left off. So some of these did happen at the very end of August, and then we'll get into my September watches. So we are going to start with The Unholy. Here is my review of The Unholy. I am actually not super stoked about this film. I went into it really wanting to love it because Jeffrey Dean Morgan is my man, but alas, I gave it 3 stars without the heart because I did not like it that much. The CGI was just a little over the top for me in this one. The practical effects could have been amazing. There were some practical effects in this film, but then the overall entity itself, they chose to CGI it, and it just didn't work for me. The opening scene of this movie could have been super horrifying if they wanted it to be, but they chose to show it through the eyes of the person, therefore cutting out any kind of practical effects necessary for it. But then later when they explain what actually happened to that person, it's horrifying. And I feel like if we would have been able to even just see a snippet of it, it would have been very traumatizing, but they chose not to do that. I don't know if they were going for a specific rating or not. This movie just didn't do it for me. I recommend giving it a watch to form your own opinion because maybe you guys don't care as much about practical effects and things like that like I do, but they really do make or break the film for me. However, the leading lady in that movie was pretty great. Jeffrey Dean Morgan was his normal acting self, but I don't know. Check it out if you want. The next movie I watched was True Romance. I don't think we even need to talk about how amazing this movie is. It got 5 stars for me, plus that heart, of course. I loved it. This movie is just everything. It's everything that it needs to be. It's not very often that I give out 5-star reviews. You guys know that. But True Romance is just... it is what it is. I did an unboxing of the Arrow limited edition of True Romance. I will link that below. That is what prompted me to watch this film in the first place, and that is that. I gave it 5 stars. I highly recommend it if you haven't seen it. Oh, there you go. So the next one I would like to talk about is The Lodge. I heard rave reviews about this film being original and scary and all of the things. I watched it. It was interesting. It kept my interest through the whole movie, but I don't know. The way that it ended, it wasn't that surprising to me, I guess. I kind of saw it coming, but it was truly terrifying, and it left me, feeling a bit of dread. So there's that, but I gave it 3 stars because I do recommend you guys watching it. However, I didn't give it a heart because I didn't like it that much. I probably won't ever watch it again. The next one... I caught a little bit of shit from someone because I said this movie was terrible and I don't recommend buying it, and then I went and bought it, but I bought it and then watched it, and that's how I knew it was shit. But this movie's garbage. I don't know. I didn't like it. I gave it 2 stars. I don't recommend watching. The 2 stars what do I say about this film? I don't know. It was just too over the top. It was just too much. The acting wasn't great. The whole storyline was just ridiculous to me anyway. Sorry if anybody likes this film. I did not like it. I don't recommend it. Don't buy it like I did. It had a very squishy slipcover. I'm not going to lie. That's what prompted me to buy it in the first place, was the slipcover. And then I watched it and I was insanely disappointed. I don't even want to talk about this one. I gave Candyman 3 stars because I recommend watching it to form your own opinion. That is all I'm going to say about that. I have very strong feelings towards that film, but we're just going to leave it there. If you want to check out my written review of it, go ahead and jump into my Letterboxd, but I'm just tired of thinking about that movie anymore. Let's jump into Fire in the Sky. This one was a fun one. I gave it 4 stars. This is based off of a true story. I don't know if anybody out there listens to podcasts. I do. I listen to them at work because it, kills the time a little for me. But I listened to Last Podcast on the Left. If you guys haven't heard of that or don't know those guys, it's a very interesting podcast. It's mainly true crime stuff. But sometimes their podcast lends into films, just like this one. So they did do an episode on Fire in the Sky and the true story that was behind this movie. And it was insanely interesting. And this movie pretty much hits the nail on the head. But because it's a movie and they had a limited time to produce all of what they could to make the story make sense in such a crunched span, they left a lot of stuff out. So if you guys are interested in knowing the full story of this, check out Last Podcast on the Left's episode on it because it truly is intriguing. This is a story about an alien abduction that happened. And to this day, they still don't know whether or not it truly happened or not because that's just basically what happens with these alien abduction stories. You can't ever prove them or disprove them. But the star-studded cast in this film is amazing all on its own. It has Greg Schaefer from Nightbreed. It has Peter Berg from Shocker. Henry Thomas from E.T. And it has Bradley Gregg from Stand By Me. And it also has Robert Patrick starring in it. The T-2000 himself is in this film, playing, he's young and all the things, playing all of them. I don't know. I was super excited to see that. So it's a star-studded cast in here. The only person I feel like they were missing is Bill Paxton. This seemed like the perfect movie for him to be in. Because do you realize, does this ever happen to you where you go back and you watch an old movie and then pops up Bill Paxton just randomly in this movie doing either a cameo or has some kind of supporting actor position or something like that in the film, and you're just like, damn it, Bill Paxton was in everything. I really loved him. I still love him. Rest in peace to him. But yeah, I highly recommend checking this film out. It was very good. But there's more to the story that got left out. Like I said, mainly because they had to crunch it all into this movie, but there was a lot of stuff that happened after the fact that truly ruined these guys' lives, to the point where they wished that they never came forward with their story. And I feel like that happens all the time with these alien abduction stories. People come out and they're like, I was abducted by this alien, and because there's so many people trying to prove or disprove whether or not it happened, it just ruins people's lives. So check that one out. Next, I am so super excited about this next one, Sundown, A Vampire in Retreat. This movie was a damn gem. I had not seen it before when I bought the Vestron release. It just came out on Blu-ray. I bought it because it was Vestron. I have a lot of Vestron films, so I will continue to collect them just because. But I watched this one and it was a damn treat. It was so good. It was so funny. This is one of those, it was so bad it was good. The practical effects are ridiculous, but they're practical effects nonetheless. The story was super fun. It has Bruce Campbell in it, who is another one of my men. I have a lot of men, but he's another one of my loves. I appreciate him greatly. I love all of the movies that he does, but it's a vampire movie. It's just fun. It's a fun movie. I highly recommend watching this one. It got 4 stars and a heart from me. It's a fun, wild ride, like I say. The next one I want to talk about is Kate. This one released on Netflix. It's a Netflix original. I'm not going to lie, when I saw the preview for this film, I got super excited about it because you guys know that I love my lady kick-ass movies. I'm not trying to speak bad about anything, but when I saw the preview for this movie, like I said, I got super excited about it, but I also had this feeling where it's like, How many more of these lady kick-ass movies are they going to pound out? I feel like this is just the theme right now, is to create these movies where it has a leading lady that just kicks a lot of fucking ass. And I've watched a slew of them lately. Gunpowder Milkshake was one of them. Jolt was another one. And now Kate. So my hair is a damn mess. But I saw the preview for Kate that it was going to be coming out, and I was super excited about it. But it was before I had seen Jolt and just coming off of Gunpowder Milkshake. So I don't know. I just kind of was like, is this going to be another one of those movies? And now we're just going to be flooded with them, and they're not going to mean anything anymore. You know what I mean? This one is different. This one takes the cake when it comes to kick-ass leading ladies. I feel like Kate just did it all right. Everything about this film was just, it was better than all the rest. I know I'm really talking this one up. I gave it 4 stars and a heart for a reason. I highly recommend watching it. I wish this one would come out on physical media because I would buy it up in a freaking heartbeat. It also has my man Woody Harrelson in it. Which, you know, I love him. It wasn't fun in the ways of Gunpowder Milkshake was fun, and it wasn't ridiculous in the way that Jolt was ridiculous. This one was more on the stabby lines, where it was more brutal and gruesome, and she kicked ass for a reason and a purpose, and she had a sad backstory, and, you know, it wasn't the fun and games the other one was. This one was brutal, and I think that's what I liked about it. But it also had a few, very few and far between humorous moments. But I think Kate, as a leading kick-ass lady, this movie nailed it. It really nailed it, and it was fun to watch. I watched this movie 100 times over. So I am going to skip these ones and go to this one. 4 reasons to come. I will explain that later. But I'm going to jump right into Venom because this movie I just saw recently. Its opening weekend was just last weekend. I gave this movie 4 stars and a heart because I truly did like it. It was fun. It was a wild ride. It had a lot of CGI. And not a lot of gore. This is not a gory movie. This is a Marvel movie, superhero styley, about Venom. It's almost like an anti-hero, you know, like he starts off a villain but ends up a hero kind of situation. But these movies are just fun. They're not meant to be, you know, great award-winning movies. They're just meant to be big blockbusters that are fun, popcorn movies to go to the theaters to watch. And that's exactly what this was. I went into this movie wanting something funny, wanting something action-packed, wanting something with some cool-ass monsters, and that's what I got. And it has Tom Hardy in it, who's awesome, and it also has Woody Harrelson in it again. So you can't go wrong there. There are some breaks in the acting every once in a while where you're like, oh, that was kind of cheesy as fuck. For the most part, it's just fun. It's a fun movie. I'd highly recommend it. I think anybody who watches it is going to be entertained by it and isn't really going to be disappointed with it because these movies have no standard. They can pretty much do whatever the fuck they want. So that is it. That is all. This is where I'm wrapping up my September Letterboxd watches. What did you guys watch this September? Was it any of these? Did you guys check any of these out? If you did, hit me in the comments below. And did you have the same feelings about them that I did? There were a couple shitters in there that I kind of wish I never watched and wasted my time. But honestly, I don't really consider watching a bad movie a waste of time because you always get something from a movie, whether, you know, it's a movie review that you can talk about or a recommendation that you cannot give, or I don't know, something. You always get something from every movie that you watch. And I guess I'm glad that I watched them because now I know. But anyway, for the most part, I feel like I watched some pretty good movies this last September. Thank you guys so much for joining me for this little movie review video. Let me know in the comments if you liked it. If you want to further support me and my channel, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and kill that bell for your girl. Share me with your friends because maybe they need some movie recommendations and this video will give that to them. I will also link my previous video down below if you want to check that one out. But until the next time we gather, have a killer day. Peace.